I definitely got a couple questions. As soon as this goes live, I'm gonna start it so that way we have some good audio and video.
We're live everywhere right
Everywhere,
now,
everywhere. Facebook,
huh?
YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, Instagram Live, man. How's my lighting look? Is my selfie light good?
Man, hey,
All
you
right.
looking good, man. I can't lie.
Whoo, man. All right. Well, we are live, so let's go ahead and get started. I am here. It's a Thursday afternoon. It's 12 o'clock Eastern time. I'm here with my boy Xavier Scruggs from Extraordinary Athletes. Dude, we're just gonna sit and talk a little bit about the mental side of the game. We're here on the Prospect Dugout Network. You're watching on Facebook, on YouTube, on Twitter, on Twitch, or maybe you're right here on IGTV or on IG Live. We're coming at you from all different angles. Xavier, what is going on, buddy? We were talking earlier, and you said that there might be an opportunity for you to head over to Korea to play. What's going on with that?
There's possibility over there. There's some good talks. I was over there a couple of years ago for 2 years, had a great time, and so I'm just training, staying ready. For any phone call that could happen at any time. A lot of times when these teams call you, it's like, hey, let's get ready to go. So for me, I want to be ready for any aspect, whether that be Major League, whether that be Mexico, whether that be Korea. I've been to all of them, played at all levels, so I just want to have myself ready to go. At the same time, I want to make sure that I'm enjoying this family time that
Mhm.
I have. A lot of time at home, so I got two boys, Xander and Zeke, and just enjoying time with them, and my wife Jessica. But yeah, as an athlete, we just always have to stay ready, no
Mhm.
matter what, no matter what. So it's cool to be able to get my body and keep it going and mentally stay sharp.
Dude, so I'm thinking to myself, travel ball's starting back up in Florida. Guys are starting to play again. So let's dive into the mental side of things. Let's get you talking about the mental side. Okay. So we've been talking, we had our episode last time. We talked about like what we're doing now when we're, sitting around not doing anything. We don't know what's going on. But now we're thinking, okay, teams are starting to play practice again, tournaments are starting to happen. So like how does that mindset adjust now that you're amped up? You know that it's coming, you know that you're there and getting ready to play. But what should they be thinking about right now?
Yeah, yeah. I think the biggest thing that the athlete should be thinking about is building. If you're a young athlete and you're having an opportunity to get back out there, I would take it as okay. I need to take steps to build to where I want to be. Last time we talked a lot about goal setting, so I think it's important for those athletes that are able to get back out there on the field to start setting goals and start remembering. Okay, these are the things that I wanted to improve on last time I was out here.
Mm-hmm.
Let's evaluate where I'm at now, and let's continue to build off of that. Don't expect to go out there and do the same exact things you did before, whether that's good or bad. Go out there and evaluate yourself seriously and honestly. That way, you can make the proper steps to be able to take your game to the next level. And remember that it's not going to be easy.
Mm-hmm.
We had a lot of time off. Obviously, there's some athletes that were doing more than others, but as a whole, we've had a lot of time off. So remember, don't beat yourself up too much,
Mm.
because when we get back out there, we're going to have to go through a lot of the things that we were building on before. So remember, it's a building process. You're always going to be striving forward. Don't beat yourself up too much, and really listen to your coaches, listen to your teammates, listen to your parents, your guardians, because they're also really good evaluators of your talent. And I
Mm-hmm.
think it's important to take a step forward by doing that and have your ears wide open, eyes wide open to what's going on.
We talked about routine and things like that. So now that we're getting back into the game a little bit, how should we, as high school and amateur athletes, how should we adjust our routine based on this new schedule that we're faced with?
Yeah, yeah, I think that's a really good question, and it's going to be different for everybody.
Mhm.
But from a foundation standpoint, I feel like it's important to, like you said, start building that routine. You're going to want to narrow down everything that you think you need to do to get to where you want to be. For example, so if I'm an eighth grader
Mhm.
and I'm starting to have the opportunity to play a little bit more travel ball now, it's starting to open up. I'm able to get on the field. Let me start building the routine that I know I can do every day to be successful. For me, as an athlete, I've always felt like it's important to include nutrition in your routine. I've always felt like it's important to include video watching in my routine. And I always want to try to include something that no other players are doing. So if I know that uh, the other guys are not paying attention in the dugout, and I have an opportunity to pay attention in the dugout and see what's going on the field, okay, that allows me to have another step above the competition. So like you said, just building that routine, starting from ground up, and remember, a routine doesn't necessarily just have to do with your sport. It has to do with everything around your sport as well. If your routine could also be knocking out your homework to make sure that you have extra time to be able to do extra drills.
Mhm.
You don't want to get toward the end of the day and, oh, I got to pick between homework and extra drills. Like that shouldn't be the case. If I'm an extraordinary athlete, I'm going to make sure I did everything that I need to do to put myself in position to be able to knock out extra work to perfect my craft. Um, and know how much is what you need. You have to navigate that. If you know one day that you're tired, you had a lot going on throughout
Mhm.
the day, and you need to get some swings in. Don't beat yourself up and take 200 swings that didn't get you better. If it's important for you to take maybe 20 swings and you're locked in every swing, and every swing matters, I think that it's important to understand that. So understand how your body feels, how you are mentally. Um, a lot of times as athletes, we're tired mentally. We've gone through a lot. We've maybe had a tough practice. Maybe our coach made us run a lot. So like mentally, we have to understand where we're at too. That so sometimes you have to evaluate how you feel as an athlete,
Mhm.
and that's a part of growing as an athlete too. You're going to understand your body a little bit more. You're going to understand your mental a little bit more, and you have to build off of that. So not everything has to necessarily do with on the field practice and in game, but it could do more routine wise with nutrition,
Right.
could do more with your classwork, homework. It could be more with mobility or weights and conditioning. So you want to be able to navigate those things and prioritize those things according to your body and how you feel.
So you talked a little bit about video watching, a little bit about nutrition. What are you looking for when you're watching video? What are some of the key points that you're looking for? Nothing too deep, but just like one or two things that are really important that we should focus on.
Yeah. I think first and foremost, I think it's important to watch our own video first.
Mhm.
I think today we talked about last time having the opportunity to have so many media opportunities with our phone, with iPads, with computers, cameras. So if you have an opportunity, record yourself and go back and look at what you're doing. A lot of the times when we're batting or fielding or whatever it may be on the field, we think we're doing one thing, but once we look at the video, it really allows ourselves to look at the mirror and say, okay, this is what I'm actually doing. And then take that video and, depending upon the age that you are, depending
Mhm.
upon where you're at in your career, talk to somebody, maybe a mentor, maybe a coach, maybe your parents, um, and then learn from what you're trying to do. If you have a hitting coach and he's telling you, okay, let's try to make sure that we're doing this with our body, make sure we're staying square. Um, so those are the things that you should be looking in your video. You should be going from, okay, how am I being taught, to, am I actually doing it in the video? And if I'm not doing it, how do I get better at what I'm trying to do? So for me, it's important to write those things down. I know as a professional athlete, it was important for me after every season.
Mhm.
And this has been, our season was cut short this past for a lot of high schoolers, middle schoolers. But if you have an opportunity, look back at those videos that you had last season, write down some of the things that you want to improve upon, and then take those things to yourself and to your coaches and say, hey, this is how I want to improve. My
Mhm.
hitting coach, this is how I want to improve. My pitching coach, this is how I want to improve. I see that I was doing this, and I know that this isn't going to cut it at the next level.
Right.
So also, when evaluating yourself and evaluating video, think about not where you are right now, but think about where you want to be. Okay, I know that I want to be a star player at the varsity level. What I was doing last season, I don't think that's going to cut it.
Mhm.
Let me talk to my coach and say, okay, how can I get better?
Mhm.
So I think evaluating your own video and then being able to turn that on and turn on YouTube and say, okay, what are some of my favorite players doing?
Mhm.
What are some of my favorite players' routines? What are some of my favorite players working on when they're in the weight room are doing exercise wise. I think that's another way that the young athletes can get a step ahead and really focus, because it's easy for us to just be like, I love video games. It's easy for us to be on video games or
Mhm.
go on YouTube and start searching like random things that have nothing to do with the sport that we call ourselves wanting to be the best at. So I think that's where we can get a step ahead. Okay, let me lock in on YouTube for 10, 15 minutes and figure out what are these guys doing really well. And then if you don't know, and it's okay not to know, go to your coach, go to your mentor, go to your parent. Okay, what is John Carlos Stanton do really well that I could maybe implement in my game?
Mhm.
What is Jose Altuve doing really well that I can do in my game? There's a lot of videos of fielding videos that you have the coach from the Braves,
Mhm.
third base coach from the Braves, Washington. He breaks down fielding videos, like what the guys are doing before the game to get ready. So I would try to check out a lot of those things that the guys are doing maybe before the game, to prepare themselves, because those
Yeah.
are the things that we can implement in our game every single day.
Yeah. So your thing is extraordinary athletes. So what is an extraordinary athlete doing right now as they're transitioning back into playing?
Yeah, that's a great question as well. I think
Let
one
me
of the
actually
things.
let me actually phrase it a different way to so you can actually maybe provide two answers to the question, same question. What is an extraordinary athlete doing differently than just an ordinary athlete?
Yes, that's perfect, man. Yeah, first of all, I think the extraordinary athlete is finding a way, even when some of them may not be able to be on the field right now, they're finding a way to fine tune those tools that they've had and that they want to get better at. Whether or not it's me throwing the ball up against the wall 100 times a day, trying to get the right feel for fielding. Another thing that they're doing is looking at those YouTube videos and finding out how they can get better. Another thing that they're doing is they're watching videos like this on
Mhm.
Instagram, on Zoom. They're tuning into Prospect Dugout when Nick Swisher is talking about how to get better.
Mhm.
They're finding ways and looking at videos to see what guys do to prepare themselves to be at that next level. They're going and finding out what are college coaches looking at when they want a player at a certain position.
Mhm.
What are the things they're looking at besides baseball? Where do my grades need to be? What can I be doing educationally wise to prepare myself? Whether that be getting a tutor, whether that be extra time in study hall. So finding the little things that they can do uh, to just take their game to the next level.
Yeah.
Also, now that we have an opportunity, some players have opportunity to get back on the field.
Mhm.
I think it's important to, like we said, build the routine, set your goals, and also remind yourself where does my focus need to be? Because I think it's important when we step back on the field, our focus is going to be all over the place
Right.
because we've missed a lot
Yeah.
of time. So it's easy for us to whether that be get distracted or try to focus on too much at one time. My
Mhm.
swing needs to be like this. I'm struggling. My fielding needs to be like this. I'm struggling. My pitching. So hone in on one thing first that you can
Okay.
get better at and build off of that. So I think that's definitely a way an extraordinary athlete is going to get better, and also doing the little things outside of their sport, whether that be talking to, like I mentioned earlier, talking to someone like you,
Mhm.
asking questions on here, trying to figure out, okay, what are the little things that I know that I struggle at? What are my weaknesses? How do I ask somebody else? What do I need to do? There's so many outlets now and that we have with media and everything, YouTube, Zoom, Facebook. You have so many Facebook groups, so travel baseball groups, like
Mhm.
finding out what I need to do to get better, asking questions. I think that that's so important.
So what are some well actually let me ask you this first. I was thinking about this. Um what are your thoughts on like sleeping habits? What are your thoughts on going to bed earlier and getting up earlier? Because I was thinking about doing something, I don't know, the other day, and I was like, it was like 7 or 8 o'clock at night. I was like, oh, I can knock it out in like an hour or so. And I was like, well, why don't I just relax, get to bed at a decent hour, and then just get up a little bit earlier in the morning and knock it out, and then just get on with my day.
Yeah. I think that that definitely goes along with multiple different avenues. First, the sleeping thing. that comes along with nutrition and drinking the proper amounts of fluids. Um, to answer your question, I think it's important for us to get to bed, obviously,
Mhm.
at a decent time, because it affects the next morning. As an athlete, we don't, as an extraordinary athlete, we don't let one day affect the next day.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So I'm going to make sure that I take care of what I need to take care the night before, make sure I'm drinking the right way, make sure I'm
Mhm.
eating the right way. That way, the next morning I can pop up at 7 o'clock or 6 o'clock, whatever it may be, and I have the right mindset to get going. If I know I'm eating chips and I'm eating ice cream and I'm not drinking water, I'm drinking soda, too much amounts of soda, too much amounts of sweets, I know it's
Mhm.
going to affect the way that I sleep. I know it's going to affect, same thing if I'm playing video games till 2 o'clock in the morning.
Right.
I have nothing against video games, but if I'm playing till 2 o'clock in the morning, I'm probably not going to get up until maybe 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock. And if I do, I'm going to be groggy the next morning and maybe not knock out what I plan to knock out during that day for
Mhm.
baseball. So part of being a great athlete is not letting one day affect the next day. And a
Yeah.
lot of professional athletes will tell you. I see my man Edwin Jackson on here. He's gonna tell you, a guy that's played a long time in the big leagues. Um, you know, as a great athlete, you separate every single day. Every single day is an
Yeah.
opportunity to get better. Don't take steps back when you have the opportunity to keep going forward. And that's something I wish that I knew myself when I was a younger athlete, is that everything that you do one day affects the next day, nutrition wise,
Mhm.
sleeping wise. So sleeping habits are huge. That's why you see guys, I talk to guys in the NFL, and I'm sure NBA, basketball, multiple different sports have the oxygen sleeping chambers, because those things are so important. And if you have the money,
Mhm.
they know that they need to buy it because that's how important it is. So I just stress to athletes, like, make sure you're taking care of your bodies, make sure you're getting the right amount of sleep, because that stuff up, you want to
Yeah.
pop up the next morning ready to go.
That's it. So talk to me about some mental cues. Like what is something like a mantra or something that you use when you're in a situation? I've actually been listening to the book of Job, reading the book of Job, and just thinking about like what are some things that you can use. Like we're here talking about this, right?
Hmm.
But like it's a totally different situation when we personally have to go through it, right? It's
Definitely.
easy for us to sit here and tell everybody that's watching, you should do this,
Yeah.
you should do that, you should do this. It's easy for me to do it. I know that for a fact, but it's difficult when the situation comes, and that's what the story talks about in the book of Job is being able to not only preach what your passion is, but then actually when you're faced with that circumstance to actually use that knowledge that you have, for that situation. So what's like a mantra for you? What's something for you where you're coming up to a tough time and it's something, you just need that mental strength to push through.
Yeah, yeah, no, that's a good one too. And I have two things for that.
Okay.
Um, being a professional athlete and playing at the highest level, I've had the opportunity to play at stadiums where they're just rocking, and I know that it's a stressful situation. I when I was with the St. Louis Cardinals, I remember just a sea of red just rocking in a situation where there's runners on second and third, less than one out, and you got to get the job done. So that definitely brings some type of anxiety to you,
Mhm.
or some type of, okay, I need to really do my job. But the biggest thing that I've learned throughout that process is, you have to breathe. That for
Mm.
me, I have to tell myself, okay, just breathe. And that goes with any situation, even outside of baseball. But I think it's important, when we breathe, we're able to take a step back and
Mhm.
just relax. Able to let our body just untense. I think that that's important for young athletes today. It's like, you have to realize that there's going to be so many stressful situations, but the more that you're able to relax in those situations, the more you're able to breathe, and let stress go. I think that that's going to be huge, and it's going to help give you confidence for each time you go about.
Mhm.
Another thing too is, when I'm in those types of situations, or if I'm in tough tough decision making process. I think it's important for me to remember what I've done in the past. All athletes have had some type of success in the past. So the one thing that I want them to be able to do is think back and think about, okay, when did you last have that success? Do you remember what that feeling of joy really felt like? Do you remember the emotions? So bring yourself back to a positive moment when you really did something maybe great for the team, and think about doing that same thing in the moment that you have. That helps you to slow down the moment. And this specifically, I'm thinking about this because I've used this walking to the plate. If I'm walking to the plate and I know bases are loaded, we're down by 2 runs, there might be some pressure on me. But okay, let me think back to, all right, I remember that time a few games ago when I was able to definitely provide for my team, when I was
Mhm.
able to really come through. So think back to those joyous moments, and that really slows the game down in your mind. Same thing fielding wise. Okay, maybe I just made an error. You know what? It's easy for us to say, okay, block it out. A lot of coaches, hey,
Right.
block it out, get to the next one. But how do I do that? Let
Mhm.
me remember all the thousands of times where I perfectly fielded that ground ball and made a perfect throw. Get back to thinking about that instead of, okay, man, I just made that error. No, how many times have you done it perfectly?
Yeah.
So let's change the mindset a little bit to provide confidence for ourselves.
I'm here with Xavier Scruggs on Prospect Dugout. We're live on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, and Twitch. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. There's 100 and something people watching on Facebook right now, by the way. But dude, I want to do one more topic. I definitely like, this is our second time doing this show, and definitely loving
It's
it.
been a lot of
Definitely,
fun, man.
yeah, I definitely think that we can create something out of this. So I'm definitely looking forward to next episode on Tuesday. So everybody that's watching, we'll be back again on Tuesday. But I want to kind of close it down with this final topic, and it was just kind of something that you were just mentioning, that I want to kind of elaborate on. I don't want to elaborate on. I want you to elaborate on. You talked about walking up to the plate with the bases loaded, down by 2, and you talked about the crowd and everybody and like being nervous, right? And the pressure. And let's dive into that real quick. Like, where does that pressure come from? It doesn't come from hitting the possibility of you hitting a home run. It doesn't come from the possibility of you getting a 2 RBI single or a double down the line. It scores 3, and now all of a sudden you're up 1. That nervousness doesn't come from that. The nervousness and the pressure comes from, what if you fail? Okay. And so here, in just thinking about this right now, what we're talking about, think about it this way. Okay. If you're an athlete that walks up to the plate and you're nervous, right? Everybody gets nervous. Okay. I don't think I've ever walked to the plate where there wasn't some sort of butterfly or something. And actually, to hit on that, I heard A-Rod say that if he didn't have butterflies, then something was wrong. Because if you have butterflies, you have passion for doing what you're doing, and it's exciting, right? So anyway, so if you're walking up to the plate and you're nervous, right? And your reaction if you fail is downward, your head's down, right? You're just going to get that. It's just going to be a repeat cycle, right? Think about an athlete like Mike Trout that goes up there. He's up to the plate all the time with runners in scoring position. He's up there all the time in pressure situations. And he walks up there with the same nervousness and the same pressure, more pressure than you at a high school game, because he's got 50,000 people watching plus TV, right? There's a lot of pressure. And he'll go out there and he'll strike out with the bases loaded. Probably walking back to the dugout with a grin on his face, or not a sad look. It may be a flat look, or maybe a kind of an upset look, but he goes in, keeps his composure, and goes back out there. And when he comes up to the plate again with the bases loaded, it's the same situation. He's there confident that the possibility to hit a home run, the possibility to have a 2 RBI single and tie the game, or double down the line to take the lead, the possibility of that is there. And so kind of what you were hitting on was thinking back to all the training that you did. But I want to elaborate more. When you get up there and you're nervous, don't think about what if this happens. Think about, these are my objectives. I got this pitcher, this, all this going on. You can literally take all of that pressure out of the equation by focusing on all the different things that are going on in that situation. If you're mentally prepared to say, okay, this pitcher has this in his repertoire, he throws this, he likes to do this, but he's been struggling in command with this and that today. Now, all of a sudden, when you go up to the plate, you're still in that same situation, but because you're thinking about your approach and your plan of action, that tug at you of the pressure and the nervousness isn't weighing you down. It's still there, but you found a way to use confidence. Not confidence like in a cocky way, like, oh, I'm going to go do this, but confidence as in, I prepared myself, like you were just saying. You think back to all the times that I've fielded that ground ball before. Okay. You're not always up with the bases loaded, but think about the possibility of what could happen if you do it right because of all the training that you've done. And so I think that's very important. And I want you, I mean, I said I wasn't going to elaborate, but I went, but
No, no,
just kind of elaborate on that from a positivity standpoint.
yeah, I think that you're dead on with that. And to add to that point, um, it's funny because basically as a hitter, maybe with bases loaded, um, we're literally trying to do the same thing as if there was nobody on base.
Mm-hmm.
We're still trying to get a good pitch and hit it, drive it maybe up the middle to the outfield, you
Mm-hmm.
know. So basically what we're trying to do doesn't really change. The only thing that changed is that there's three of my teammates on the base.
Mm-hmm.
So I think if we're able to simplify it a little bit, like you said, there's so many other things that we could think about. So I think it's important to simplify it, and you mentioned another great point is like we think about the outcome. Let's continue to think about what we're actually trying to do personally at the plate.
Mm-hmm.
First of all, I'm just trying to get a good pitch. I have at least 3 strikes to work with. Um, for me to think about the outcome, that means that I've already finished my strikes. That means
Mm-hmm.
I've already finished my swing, whatever it may be. Let me think about before, what I'm trying to do before. Okay, let me get this first pitch. Let me make sure I have a good at bat. Let me make sure I'm attacking the baseball the right way. Let me make sure I'm just seeing the baseball. So, however it is, and everybody thinks differently. So, however it is that you're able to simplify it a little bit, I think that that's really important. And like you mentioned, like we're thinking about the outcome that is failure instead of thinking about the outcome that is positive. Um, a lot of time, I've always been a guy that's always driven in runs. Like RBIs has always been my thing for some reason or not. And I think it's because I look at it as when there's guys on base, um, I try to think of it as the same as if there was nobody on base. I try to think of it as like, oh, these are bonus points if I get these guys in. So it's almost like for me, I'm just trying to do the same job that I've always tried to do. I don't try to change anything. And I think that's a big thing today is like athletes try to change sometimes when they get guys in scoring position or if they're on defense and there's a ball hit to them in the gap, maybe a center fielder's running to the ball. I got to get to this ball instead of thinking, okay, let me just do what I normally do. And how I normally do it is the way that I've been prepared for so long.
Mm-hmm.
Same thing with pitchers. Maybe there's, the bases loaded. For some reason, we get this nervousness feeling inside of us instead of, okay, you know what if there weren't 3 guys on base? Am I going to pitch this guy necessarily any different? Is my game plan going to change all of a sudden with guys on base? So I think understanding that how we can simplify it, like you said, is not thinking about the failure or the outcome, but thinking about what we can do, maybe each pitch, maybe what our specific job is. And I think that's what high level extraordinary athletes do is they're able
Mm-hmm.
to separate, okay, if I fail, I fail. Like I'm going to fail more oftentimes than not. But if I succeed right here, I'm going to show myself and I'm going to show others that I'm at a different level.
Yeah.
So I think that that's a good way to separate yourself is like be happy to have those pressure situations, be happy to produce in those situations.
Dude, I've already got like I've already got lined up what we're going to talk about next time. We're gonna dive a little bit deeper into this because I feel like we could go on for a little bit. So let's wrap it up
Definitely.
here. Xavier Scruggs, my man, extraordinary athletes. Where can we find you online?
You can find me at xoathletes.com. Actually, we're putting out Extraordinary Athletes virtual, an opportunity to sign up today. And I'm going to make a huge announcement. So make sure you sign up, put your email in xoathletes.com. You don't have to pay anything, just sign up and you'll get what's coming today. And then obviously we got guys on Instagram, Xavier_Scruggs, and that's the same for Twitter. So I'm out there. I'm open. You guys can hit me in the DMs. I'm willing to answer all questions. I follow back, whatever it may be. Just hit me up. I'm open book.
That's how we linked up, bro, in the DMs, man.
Yeah.
Slid in the DM, bro.
Slide in the
Man,
DMs.
hey, did somebody really take Xavier Scruggs without the underscore? So you have to use the underscore
Yeah,
on his
somebody
tweet?
did,
That's
man. Somebody
crazy, man.
somebody
Dang.
took it. Somebody
Dang.
took it.
Somebody did that with
So
my name too. But anyway, yeah. So, dude, it's a great time talking. Like I love doing this. I love diving into the mental side because it's way more than just baseball. It's life, it's relationships, it's a whole bunch of different things. It's really cool just to dive
Exactly.
in with somebody like you. So we're gonna end it here. We're gonna come back next Tuesday, 12:30, 1 o'clock. We'll figure that out. We'll announce it on Instagram, Facebook. But thank you guys so much for joining us. We appreciate it. Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, IG Live. Thank you guys so much. Xavier, man, it was good. I'll talk to you soon.
Hey, talk to you guys soon. Appreciate you.